I think part of the blessing of working in this building is being able to see the history side of it, but also to see the side when clients come in, whether it's to have an appointment or they're just coming in to ask a query, how much the clients enjoy the history side of it. And they enjoy, I think, from what they say, the continuity. Having been into the building over many years, they comment on, the fabric of the building, the history has been respected, and that's very much where the company is coming from in maintaining its headquarters here at 18 View Street.
Yes, heritage listed. The main central part is actually National Trust listed, so it's gone beyond heritage. and I can understand that because of the unique woodwork, and we appreciate it as a company. The centre pillars that were put in 1908 have got copper inside them, and that's actually a facade thing, just a part of the decorative, but certainly that gives a different appearance. It's something perhaps you won't find in another building, and it's been maintained over the years. In behind the original front counter, it's down the centre of the building, which is only single storey at that particular stage, so it's holding really the roof up. But given that we've got 20-foot high ceilings in here and a lot of decorative plaster on the ceilings, that we do need to have that central span. The steel girders weren't available then, so it is wood that's up there, so it's fairly big beams. And we were lucky enough when we were doing some renovations upstairs that the beams were so big that it was considered then that we didn't have to put a fire sprinkling system through the place, and that the beams would take quite a while to go, and in these days the CFA can get here quite quick. So, well, the building is listed with the Heritage Walk people. If you're a tourist to Bendigo or even a Bendigonian, you can go down to what we call as the new post office, which is a tourism building, and they've got guides down there which take you for a walk around the heritage buildings in the centre of Bendigo. And ours is certainly one of those buildings. We've got a plaque out the front from the National Trust, and people come in just to have a look around. Well, we're quite proud of it, and we take people and show them around.
And a lot of the people, particularly from overseas, talk about how in their countries, particularly those visiting from the United Kingdom, how not all of their buildings of a similar age have been kept in the same sort of state of preservation. They talk about it's amazing that it's actually still a functioning building, but still preserved very much the history of it. When Neil and I prepared the list of things, we had noticed that, of course, there's a number of historic items that sit in the building and perhaps have sat in the same spot. It's a bit hard to tell. A few things we've moved around the building. But no, there's particular sort of, I think you'd call them sort of furniture items.
Umbrella stand or coat stand in the hallway is one of the things that you don't use so much these days until it rains, and then, well, where am I going to put my umbrella? So the staff line them up in there, and that's unique that it's made out of cast iron, but it's been stained to fit in with the woodwork. It's not painted or anything, it is actually stained. The tray can be removed at the bottom to take the water that runs out of the umbrella, so even back then they thought about these things such as OH&S, I guess, that you didn't have a pool of water coming onto your floor from an umbrella, you could actually do something with it. You will notice when you come in the front door on the left that there is a set of gold scales, and quite proudly on display in our main foyer. They weren't ours, we actually acquired them some years ago, but we felt that they were important for people to remember and be able to come and see. We haven't got a very big piece of gold in there with them, but certainly the largest weight, if you found that today, I think you'd be quite a rich person.
So to help that along, there are various signs around the building, so when people come in they can see the sign that explains what the counter is, and there's a particular grandfather clock that sits in the reception area that also is quite a feature that people always comment on.
It's a Swinton Clock from over in England, and that would have been 1830. And most interesting that it's got a facade on it which was hand painted, and that reflects what the artist would have seen outside of his window at that particular time. So you've got old stone bridges and deers running around in the paddocks and things like that. So, but it is a little bit different, that it actually keeps pace with the phases of the moon on the 28-day cycle, and also it has an anti-clockwise date in it, so it provides for the 30 days of the calendar month. It's amazing how you forget that it's there, and can sort of go through your mind and you don't take any notice of it, but at other times it'll remind you, oh gee, I'm supposed to be somewhere at 11 o'clock, and so it's a terrific thing to have, something that you don't get in a modern office today.
It's still going well. The little sign tells you that it's constructed in about 1830, so it obviously predates well and truly both the building and the formation of Sandhurst Trustees. We don't have a sense of when the company acquired the clock, whether it was an initial purchase or a far later purchase, but it still does work very well, chiming on the hour, and it still gets wound twice a week, and is still going strong. And one of the other items that we've got in the building is one of the original clerk's desks. So there's a particular photo of the building showing the central part of the building at a time when Sandhurst Trustees was occupying it, and it shows the clerk's desks down the centre of the building. So we've kept one of those, and it's one of those desks where rather than sitting down at the desk, it's probably at standing height. So you either had a fairly high stool to sit at, or you stood at this particular desk. And a lot of work would have been done in very heavy bound ledgers.
In 1908, when that photo was taken, it was open to the back wall and you could see all the way down, and the desks at that particular time were put back to back, and you'll see the staff in there. Uniquely, one of the people in that photo went on to become a company director for a number of years as well.
It's interesting to look at this particular photo because if you look at it, the different staff members around the building, and perhaps it's a little bit posed, you can't tell whether it was a sort of a snapshot on the spur of the moment or a posed sort of photograph, but certainly in that photograph at least, all of the people in the photograph as staff members of the company are all male, and you get a sense of them in their quite formal, not so much suit but rather shirt and tie, and you get a sense of them all working on these particular ledgers and keeping the business of the company going, and it gives a sense of how the building's been rearranged over time.